Hello, dear friends. If you're over 70, I want to talk to you today in the gentlest voice I know. Because what we're about to discuss may help you, or someone you love, understand something their body has been quietly trying to say. Most of us think danger feels sharp and sudden. We imagine a sudden pain, a dramatic event. But sometimes, the most important signals our body sends feel like nothing. Just an endless tiredness that settles in like a quiet fog. Doctors are now warning that one particular feeling, the kind most seniors ignore, dismissing it as simply getting older, may be an early whisper from your body, suggesting you have less time than you think, not in a frightening way, but in a way that calls for gentle attention. Research highlights that many seniors unfortunately dismiss a subtle yet powerful sensation as just getting older. But studies suggest it may be an early warning of more serious decline. This isn't about causing worry, but about empowering you with knowledge. Persistent, unexplained fatigue in older adults is a significant issue often overlooked, yet it can be a critical indicator. Today we will walk through this quietly, together. We will explore this one specific feeling, a deep, lingering sense of fatigue that doesn't simply disappear with rest. Understand why it's different from normal tiredness, what it might feel like in your body, and why listening to it is so vital. We'll discuss what doctors call this feeling and what it could potentially signify according to medical research. This information is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult with your doctor regarding any health concerns.
The feeling we need to understand is not the kind of tiredness you get after a busy day or the sleepiness that comes from a poor night's rest. This is something deeper. Doctors refer to it with terms like pathological fatigue or loss of vitality. It's a tiredness that feels fundamental, baked into your very being. It's the opposite of that feeling of getting your second wind. It's more like your first wind never quite arrives, or perhaps it left a long time ago. This type of fatigue has been medically linked to the early stages of serious conditions like heart failure, various forms of cancer, and even neurodegenerative decline, especially, though not exclusively, in adults over 70. Understanding what this might feel like is the first step in recognizing it, either in yourself or a loved one. Let's look at some of the common ways this specific feeling shows up. One common sign is waking up feeling utterly drained, even after you believe you've had 8 or more hours of sleep. Waking up feeling drained. This sign points to a fatigue that isn't being resolved by rest, indicating a potential underlying issue disrupting the body's restorative processes. It's not about the quantity of sleep, but the quality of recovery that isn't happening. What does this feel like? Imagine sleeping, but your body feels like it was still running a marathon all night. You open your eyes, the day is new, but inside you feel heavy, leaden, as if you haven't slept at all. It can feel like you need to peel yourself out of bed, not because of stiffness, but because your internal energy reserves feel completely empty. This is profoundly different from simply feeling groggy after a late night or interrupted sleep. Most people feel refreshed or at least better after adequate rest. Pathological fatigue persists, making every morning a struggle, regardless of how long you were in bed. If your mornings are consistently marked by this deep drainage, even when you feel you slept well, it's a signal your body is sending. It warrants gentle investigation, beginning with a conversation with your doctor. Another key sign is having simply no energy for activities you once genuinely enjoyed. no energy for enjoyed activities. This reflects a significant drop in overall energy levels, impacting motivation and the capacity for engagement with life. It's not just physical tiredness, but a pervasive lack of the vital energy needed to pursue interests. How does this manifest? Think about something you used to love: gardening, visiting with friends, reading, working on a hobby, or even just taking a gentle walk. Now, the thought of doing it feels overwhelming. It's not that you don't want to do it, it's that the energy required, the spark of vitality, simply isn't there. It feels like looking at a beautiful path you long to walk down, but your legs, metaphorically and sometimes literally, just won't carry you there. This differs significantly from losing interest in a hobby due to boredom or changing preferences. This is about the capacity to engage being diminished by fatigue, not a shift in desire. It's the inability to muster the energy rather than a choice to do something else. If you find yourself consistently withdrawing from activities you once cherished purely due to lack of energy rather than preference, consider this a quiet prompt from your body. It's a sign worth exploring with a medical professional. A third sensation people describe is their muscles feeling heavy or their limbs feeling like they are pulling downward.
Muscles feeling heavy or limbs pulling downward. This physical sensation points towards a deep muscular or systemic fatigue that goes beyond simple exertion. It can involve a feeling of profound weakness not tied to specific muscle use. What does this heavy feeling entail? It's often described as though gravity has suddenly increased its pull on you. Your arms and legs might feel weighted, cumbersome, or difficult to lift. It's not a sharp pain, but a dull, persistent drag. Standing up might feel like pushing through thick water, and keeping your limbs light and moving feels like a constant, exhausting effort. This is distinct from the soreness you feel after exercise or the stiffness that can accompany arthritis. Those sensations are often localized or related to movement. This heavy, downward pulling feeling is more generalized and unrelated to recent physical effort. It's an internal heaviness that seems to emanate from within your body. If you notice your limbs feel persistently heavy or dragged down even when you haven't been active, listen carefully to this sensation. It is another potential indicator that your body is under unusual strain and should be discussed with your doctor. Finally, people often describe their bodies simply feeling slow, heavy, or unwilling to move. Body feeling slow, heavy, or unwilling to move. This encapsulates the overall pervasive feeling of low vitality and resistance to physical action. It's a global sense of your body operating in slow motion or being reluctant to respond to your will. It's imagine trying to walk through molasses or feeling as though your internal motor is running at a significantly reduced speed. Initiating movement feels like a monumental task. Your body seems to resist simple actions, not because of pain or mechanical limitation, but because the fundamental energy to transition from stillness to motion or from rest to activity feels depleted. It's a general sluggishness that blankets your entire physical being. This differs from the natural slowing down that can occur with age, where movements might be less agile or rapid. This is a feeling of internal resistance and overwhelming effort required for even simple actions, a sense that your body is fighting against you in a way it hasn't before. If you experience this pervasive feeling of your body being fundamentally slow, heavy, or unwilling to engage, consider it a significant signal. It's a strong indicator that warrants professional medical evaluation. Now, you might ask, why does this specific kind of fatigue matter so much? It's just tiredness, isn't it? Unfortunately, medical research tells us otherwise. There are critical reasons why this feeling is being highlighted by doctors as something not to ignore. Fatigue linked to higher mortality risk. One reason this matters profoundly is highlighted by research. A study published in JAMA Internal Medicine found a sobering link. Older adults who reported persistent, unexplained fatigue had a startling 3 times higher risk of death within just 2 years compared to those who didn't. This finding underscores that persistent, unexplained fatigue is not benign. It can be a powerful predictor of underlying health issues that require urgent attention. The context is that the body is already battling something significant, which manifests as this profound energy depletion before other more specific symptoms become apparent. It's like a faint flickering warning light on the dashboard of your car, indicating a major engine problem is developing before the engine seizes up. This finding is different from studies looking at fatigue caused by known conditions or temporary stressors. This study focused on unexplained fatigue, the kind that doctors couldn't immediately attribute to a clear transient cause. It's the persistent mystery fatigue that holds this predictive power. Therefore, understanding this risk isn't meant to create fear, but to reinforce the importance of treating this feeling as a genuine medical symptom. If you've experienced this persistent fatigue, this statistic is a gentle, urgent nudge to seek medical evaluation. Furthermore, fatigue is often overlooked as normal aging, but it can truly be the body's earliest distress signal.
Fatigue as the body's earliest distress signal. This point emphasizes that profound, unexplained fatigue often arises when the body is under significant stress from conditions that haven't yet produced classic, recognizable symptoms. It's a systemic alarm bell. What does this mean on a personal level? Think of your body as a complex system with many sensors. When something serious begins to go wrong, maybe your heart is struggling, or abnormal cells are developing, or neurological pathways are starting to misfire. One of the first widespread effects can be a general drain on your system's energy resources. This drain is what you experience as fatigue. It's your body telling you, something is very wrong, and I'm using all my energy to try and cope. This is different from the energy dips that come with natural aging, which are usually more gradual, predictable, and often manageable with lifestyle adjustments. This distress signal fatigue is typically more profound, more sudden in its onset, though still subtle, and feels fundamentally debilitating in a way that goes beyond expected age-related changes. If you dismiss this type of fatigue as just a normal part of getting older, you might be missing your body's primary warning. It's a crucial signal that begs for attention. If you feel this kind of deep, unexplained fatigue, please honor it as your body's way of asking for help and seek medical advice. Finally, this type of fatigue often precedes other visible symptoms of cardiac, oncological, or neurological conditions. Fatigue preceding other visible symptoms. This highlights the clinical reality that persistent, unexplained fatigue is frequently an early manifestation of systemic disease before more specific signs related to the heart, like shortness of breath with exertion, cancer, like unexplained weight loss, or neurological issues like memory loss or tremors become apparent. How does this play out? Imagine those serious conditions developing slowly. In their early stages, they might not yet cause noticeable heart palpitations, a palpable lump, or obvious confusion. However, the internal strain they put on your body, diverting energy to abnormal processes, causing inflammation, or impacting metabolism, can first surface as a generalized feeling of overwhelming tiredness. It's like the faint hum of a machine starting to malfunction before it starts shaking or making loud noises. This is starkly different from common transient fatigue caused by factors like stress, temporary illness like a cold, or overexertion, which resolve when the cause is removed. The fatigue we're discussing is persistent, non-resolving symptom that appears before the textbook signs of major organ system disease. Recognizing that this kind of fatigue can be a harbinger means that paying attention to it can lead to earlier diagnosis and potentially more effective treatment for serious conditions. If you have this lingering fatigue, view it not as a weakness, but as valuable early information your body is providing, and share this information with your doctor. Understanding these points underscores why taking this specific feeling seriously is so important. It's not about resigning yourself to feeling tired, it's about listening actively to your body's communication. Once you recognize this signal, what gentle steps can you take? These aren't substitutes for medical evaluation, but supportive actions to consider. One gentle intervention is to begin keeping a simple fatigue journal. Tracking the time of day you feel most tired, what you were doing beforehand, and how the fatigue feels can provide valuable clues for you and your doctor. It brings clarity to a vague, potentially vague sensation. Another crucial step is getting screened for common medical causes of fatigue that are treatable. Ask your doctor to check for anemia, low iron, thyroid dysfunction, and basic cardiac markers. These are relatively simple blood tests that can rule out or identify significant treatable contributors to fatigue. Practicing gentle energy balancing routines can also be helpful after discussing with your doctor. Activities like chair yoga, slow tai chi, or gentle stretching can help improve circulation and energy flow without overtaxing your system. It's about mindful movement, not strenuous exercise.
Finally, reassessing your current medications with your doctor is vital. Many medications, especially those commonly prescribed to older adults, can list fatigue as a side effect. Sometimes adjusting timing or dosage or exploring alternatives can make a significant difference. Listening to your body's signals requires courage and self-compassion. It can be easy to explain away symptoms, especially if they are subtle. I am reminded of Martha, a wonderful woman I knew who was 76. She told me she just couldn't get going anymore. She loved gardening. It was her passion, her solace. But even the simple act of walking out to water the flowers felt overwhelmingly difficult. She felt guilty, thinking she was just being lazy or weak. Fortunately, her daughter encouraged her to see her doctor. Simple blood work later revealed she had undiagnosed anemia, which was contributing significantly to her tiredness. Further evaluation also found signs of early-stage heart dysfunction that had not presented with any other symptoms yet. Martha's pervasive fatigue was her body's first quiet cry for help. It wasn't a dramatic event, but a persistent feeling that something was fundamentally off. And thankfully, she listened, sought help, and was able to receive treatment that improved her energy and her overall health. Her story is a powerful reminder that this specific kind of fatigue is not just getting older. It can be a crucial message. The single most important message today is this: persistent, unexplained fatigue in later life is not necessarily a normal part of aging, but a signal that requires attention. If you have been experiencing this deep, lingering sense of fatigue that doesn't go away with rest, please promise yourself you will talk to your doctor about it. This is the most important action you can take for your health. Don't dismiss it. Investigate it gently but seriously. Have you felt this unshakable tiredness lately, or seen it in someone dear to you? Leave a quiet note in the comments below. Sharing your experience helps others feel less alone on this journey of understanding our bodies.